Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And we're going to pause right here because I can already hear the pedants among you go, "But what about the Arrow Shuttle?" We'll get to that. And now the conclusion. Yes, Trekkies, I heard, I promised, and here we are, getting to that. It's time for our Star Trek Starships Breakdown series special on the USS Voyager's mysterious secondary vehicle, the unfinished Arrow Shuttle. Yes, we say mysterious, as the thing never really appeared, if at all. Well, that's a lie, of course. I mean, you see it as part of the USS Voyager all the time. You just don't get to see it used. In this video, we'll talk about the ship and why it wasn't used at all, definitely not as much as I think it should have been, in Star Trek Voyager. As always, before we warp into the video, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. And you can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe or what kind of tea I'm drinking. As always, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Anyway, engage! The Arrow Shuttle, a very poorly understood multi-mission auxiliary vessel based around the Danube-class runabout hull and was integrated into the Intrepid class in 2368, just as the USS Danube completed its flight trials. Though unlike runabouts, Arrow Shuttles did not receive unique class status or commission names. Approximately 20 meters in length and 6 meters in height, but an undisclosed measurement in width. Some places have listed it wider than it is long, though some shots from Voyager's hull would invalidate those claims, so at this point it's still any bugger's guess. Its mission requirements included independent warp flight operations, very nice, planetary landing, yes, makes sense with the wings, extended recon missions, good size for that, crew evacuation, good size for that, and defense of the home vessel. Bit difficult when it leaves a massive hole in the underside of the hull. The runabout style plan honestly was chosen due to its rugged structural design and available components, and then we just slapped on a new pair of wings and warp nacelles like they were just grafted there. Certainly not worthy of the hot rod status of what later became the actual secondary vessel of Voyager, the Delta Flyer. Oh, sorry, I got a bit distracted there. Though we've never actually been treated to a full-blown on-screen action of the ship, we cannot stipulate the majority of the specifications, and there are limited specs supplied by Rick Sternbach's original designs. There was a standard crew intention of 4, with no listed upper evacuation limit, so we're assuming it's a TARDIS, but if anything like the runabout was suggested, it would be around the 40 mark. Integrated warp and impulse reactors with in-wing embedded warp nacelles can achieve warp 5, wingtip lift engines, whatever those are, forward-facing micro-torpedo launchers, and standard Starfleet-issued phasers. Again, going off the Danube, around 6, maneuvering thrusters and sensor strips, as well as the obligatory hull markings and windows. And while all 7 of the shuttles were called for to be integrated into the Intrepid-class ships, including Voyager and Bellerophon, it could be argued that their original intention was to serve the same purpose as the Captain's Yacht on the Galaxy-class and later the Sovereign. 8 more were used as independent flyers on their own, assigned to larger facilities like Utopia Planitia, Jupiter Station, Starfleet Headquarters, or other heavy ship classes as hangared shuttles. The Arrow Shuttle was also thick. I mean, look at it! There is no other word that really describes this thing properly. But space frame and hull plating included tritanium, duranium, and polyboronite composites, each chosen for their wide availability in distant locations and ease of repair by the mothership's crew. Modularity, as in the runabout before it, was not a requirement of this ship, though. All necessary ship stores and mission-specific gear could be loaded through the normal hatches and consumables ports. Most major systems were accessible through the hull plating, or in the case of the warp core, could be exposed from the exterior. All hull sections vulnerable to weapons fire were reinforced structurally and with shield emitters. Prior to full production, at least one of the 2 test Arrow shuttles was equipped with the usual standard systems, with the addition of telemetry gear and a remote piloting system. In order to test its defenses and structural integrity, it was fired upon by a recovered Klingon Vorcha-class attack cruiser. Although hopelessly outmatched and outgunned, The Aero Shuttle was destroyed by 3 torpedoes after only a 15-minute running battle. Not bad, really, considering those 15 minutes could be the deciding factor in survival, waiting on backup arriving. The warp propulsion systems consisted of a singular racetrack dilithium swirl chamber, 2 plasma conduits, and twin nacelles, with 8 Verterium Titanide coils each, which could power the ship to a top speed of warp 5 for short periods, but had a sustainable velocity maximum of warp 3 for extended periods. When the Aero Shuttles were docked inside their home vessel, like Voyager, the only visible area is the lower hull, designed to be flush with the lower decks of the saucer section. Structural integrity fields were designed to ensure it was completely integrated with the mothership. Atmospheric flight often involved the heating of intake gases, requiring lateral scoops, which led through the wings to the impulse chambers. Impulse exhaust could be temporarily stored in a clamshell nozzle for stealth operations, minimizing its telltale ion trail from enemy sensors. The computer, flight control, and other general systems were adapted from the tried and tested runabout components. The main computer was made triply redundant and given 12 bioneural gel-pack processors to aid in flight control and tactical decision-making. Atmospheric operations in hover time were improved by 450% in total with the use of these large wings. Energy from the impulse engines drove both direct exhaust vents as well as electrostatic airflow coils, generating lift at a standstill. Traditional Starship and Shuttle impulse fields accomplished hovering with brute gravity-canceling force. The manipulation of airflow was considered a more elegant solution. The landing gear was a tricycle leg system, operated by hydraulics, which could support the shuttle's entire mass, unlike the Intrepid's footpad structure, which only held the vessel steady whilst under an impulse support field. In the case of landing gear failure, the Aero Shuttle could touch down on a relatively flat surface with very little damage to the hull plating. The navigational deflector, proportionally smaller than those on shuttles, managed to emit nearly the same energy as the larger units, and was augmented by biasing the shield energy forwards. Mission loadouts of 3 different types of torpedoes could also be dropped into its magazines, all while the Aero Shuttle was still docked within its mother starship like an enormous, space-worthy, heavily armored kangaroo. With the exception of the test footage mock-up made by Adam Mojo Lebowitz and Rob Bonchun at Foundation Imaging, we never got to see the Aero Shuttle on screen, as mentioned before. It was finally included on a system schematic list of the USS Voyager in 2376, when con artist Dela, impersonating Captain Catherine Janeway, and her partners Mobar and Zar offered a ship captain named Varn membership into the Federation, in bunny rabbit ears, which they said they would help protect him from his many enemies. They showed him the oppressive array of weaponry and technologies of the mothership, Voyager, all in a scan to fleece him of money. Off-screen, but still in-universe though, Aero Shuttle continued to serve Starfleet in various capacities. With ongoing maintenance and upgrades of its systems, the craft would continue to fly well into the 2400s, with transfers to training and science missions near the 4th quarter of its lifetime. Lessons learned with the Aero Shuttle and Wave Rider were already facilitating new propulsion schemes and vessel configurations. Other innovations would undoubtedly follow, and who knows, if you look at the design evolution of Aero Shuttle through Wave Rider, you could perceivably see a little bit of that same design evolution in the Aeon timeship. And speaking of Aeon timeships, well, not really the Aeon itself, but time in general, you're drunk. During the Star Trek Enterprise episode Future Tense, which took place sometime before Voyager, the Aero Shuttle even had a brief cameo in crewman Daniel's repository of knowledge whilst it was being viewed by Captain Jonathan Archer. Designing the Aero Shuttle came down to the well-known Trek illustrator aficionado Rick Sternbach, of course, who provided the sketches and design aspects for the Aero Shuttle. But the development of the vessel itself came from the minds of the aforementioned Mojo Lebowitz and Rob Bonchun. They were already aware that a captain's yacht-like craft was located on the underside of Voyager's hull. It was only when the work on the Delta Flyer, the idea for creating a yacht for Voyager, finally came up. And to be fair, we've all asked the same question. Why would they build a whole new ship when, under the saucer of Voyager, the runabout-sized Aero Shuttle is just sitting right there. And they came up with a logical scenario for introducing the Aero Shuttle to the show. It could have started as the Flyer did. You'd have Tom Paris wanting to build this cool new spaceship, and as he walked around Voyager, he'd stumble across the Aero Shuttle. Yeah, makes sense, if a bit slapdash. Ultimately, the question to why the Aero Shuttle was never used from a purely in-universe point of view, of course, was that when Voyager launched, the Aero Shuttle was not quite complete. They certainly didn't expect Voyager to disappear from Starfleet facilities during her maiden flight, which incidentally turned into a 7-year slog across the galaxy, so they probably thought that it wouldn't matter if it was only there in part. It could always come back on Tuesday, after all. Or maybe once he was done building the Flyer, Tom Paris could have been like, right, next up, the Aero Shuttle. Oh wait, I've just found Alice. After Alice, the Aero Shuttle. Oh wait, I've just found a random 1936 Ford pickup floating randomly in space. After the pickup, the Aero Shuttle. And it goes on. Whether for that reason or one of a multitude of others, however, no, it was never, ever finished. And as for the captain's yacht, apparently Voyager did also have one of those, but it was never really explained except in the technical manual. Ultimately, Lebowitz and Bonjour decided to build the Aero Shuttle on spec after working out the logistics of it. That is to say, they weren't commissioned, i.e. paid, to do it. Working evenings and weekends, they put it together, including a sequence for it to be detached from Voyager and fly through the atmosphere of a planet. This is the clip that does the rounds on YouTube every now and again. This production was of course made in hopes that the show's producers would be able to see a 90% finished project and would be persuaded to use it. It was even shown to as many people as possible, hoping that if enough like it, it would be used. Sternbach drew some concepts of what the Aero Shuttle would look like and labeled the design as the Manta Shuttle, and he did deliberately design it around the runabout, so that people building it could just adopt existing sets, as opposed to building it from scratch. The video sequence was even shown to Rick Berman, but it wasn't to be. To be fair to Rick Berman, however, it wasn't because he said no, far from it. Just the plan of launching a captain's yacht ultimately ended up as part of Star Trek Insurrection, and they didn't want to steal the thunder of the Enterprise E.
That was not my fault.
Given that both were released in 1998.
Lock and load.
It's a shame we never got to see the Aero Shuttle in action, of course, outside of that brief concept shot, especially after all the work that was put into it. But at least it has seen the light of day, even in various publications such as Eagle Moss, which gave fans a glimpse of what might have been. And as one final little tidbit at the end of this little expose of ours, did you know that the Aero Shuttle's original name was supposed to be Aero Wing? The whole reason that got changed was because of the Mighty Ducks. Aero Wing was a Mighty Ducks trademark, a transport, actually, used by the team from the 1996 Disney cartoon series The Mighty Ducks, not the eponymous NHL team itself. But that about wraps it up for the Aero Shuttle, or shall we now start calling it the Duckmobile? Could its warp drive be modified to make a distinctive quack noise? These and its eventual fate are questions that perhaps may never be answered. But for now, if there are any other ships or topics you'd like to see us break down here on Trek Central, be sure to let us know in the comments, and we'll do our very best to get round to them. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then of course make sure you hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central, and you can also follow us on social media or join the community Discord server. For now, I've been Lieutenant Commander Adam. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends.